Hi everyone, a travel addict guy here. I have some breaking news from Spain. Andalusia's provincial borders to reopen from Thursday, but the night curfew will remain. So that happened a few days ago. The regional government's committee of experts met this Tuesday afternoon to decide on the new coronavirus control measures. More than 3 months after movement between provinces was banned, except for justifiable reasons, in an effort to control the spread of the virus, the Junta de Andalusia has decided to lift the restriction from this Thursday. Okay, so here is the latest news about the tourism. Passports, the tourist passports, the vaccine port. Spain will be ready to receive international tourists with a vaccine passport from June. The Secretary of State for Tourism, speaking at the World Travel and Tourism Council Summit, confirms that the digital certificate will be ready by then, and Spain will run a pilot test in May. Spain's Secretary of State for Tourism, Fernando Valdez, has set a date for the long-awaited return of international tourists to the country. Valdez has announced that from June, Spain will be ready to receive international tourists because the European Digital Green Certificate, that is what we talked about before. It is a reality now, folks. For it was just something that you might have heard in science fiction, but it is now a reality. The C-19 passport will be available. At the annual summit of the World Travel and Tourism Council, the Secretary of State assured that from now on there will be more and more positive news coming out. As a result, he looks at the future of the tourism sector with more optimism, he said. Even so, he explained that the digital certificate is not a magic wand, but it gives certainty and provides security because a tourist knows that they will be able to travel if they are vaccinated, have a negative virus test, if they are not immunized, or have recovered from the disease. So that is good to know. It says you can also take the test and you could also have recovered from the disease. But I think that they are going to offer preferential treatment to those with the passports. I think that will be your ticket to travel in the future, in the near future, that is for sure. Here's some interesting news here about Barcelona. Barcelona launches campaign to win back U.S. tourists. The Catalan capital has welcomed the recommendation that vaccinated Americans be allowed to enter Europe, given that before the pandemic they were key to the city's tourism sector. An announcement from the European Commission recommended that EU member states allow vaccinated visitors from the United States to enter Europe has created shockwaves through the tourism sector of Barcelona. For the pandemic, the Catalan capital received more American travelers than from any other country. That is quite interesting. They are only outstripped by domestic tourists. I know a lot of Americans do like Barcelona. In fact, that is the first place that I ended up in Spain myself. They also spend the most money on their stays. Well, maybe that is most Americans. That would not be me. Turismo de Barcelona, the city's tourist board, has announced a new project to promote the city in the U.S. at a time when a number of European destinations are also announcing they are reopening and are competing among themselves. Reports from the Barcelona Tourism Observatory are clear. 16.9% of all tourists who visited the city and stayed in a hotel in 2019, the last full year before the pandemic was declared, were from other parts of Spain. A total of 1,612,000 visitors. In second place at 11.6 were Americans, 1,100,000, followed by the United Kingdom at 8%, 763,000. In terms of the numbers of nights spent in hotels, Americans came in first with 2.4 million nights in 2019, 12% of the total. So that is quite interesting news there. It seems like they're going to be forced to take on visitors because other European countries are opening up and they're going to take in visitors. So you can see that Barcelona is worried about being left behind and they want in on the action, and no wonder why. That is a big portion of their revenue. So some troubling news here about the AstraZeneca vaccine in Spain. 1 million Spaniards due to second AstraZeneca shot will have to wait another month. The Public Health Commission has delayed a decision on what to do with the essential workers who received the first dose of the C-19 vaccine before it was restricted to the 60 to 69 age group, which I talked about a few weeks ago in a report. On Tuesday, May the 4th, it will have been 84 days since the first doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca C-19 vaccine were administered in Spain. That's 12 weeks. The maximum time that the technical sheet for the C-19 vaccine recommends between both injections necessary to offer the full protection, and that is what we are going after. The Public Health Commission, which is made up of the Central Health Ministry and the country's regions, met today to decide what course of action to take for more than 1 million under 60s who have received their first dose and have been left in limbo ever since the Spanish health authorities opted to use the medication exclusively for the 60 to 69 age group, given concerns over the tiny risk of blood clots associated with the AstraZeneca. In the end, the health authorities have opted to delay the decision for another 4 weeks. That is quite troubling if you've already received the first shot and you cannot get the second one, and the other 12 weeks have run out. It seems like it will no longer be effective. So that is quite concerning there. The other question is, why are they allowing this vaccine for people 60 to 69 if you're not allowing it for younger people? That makes little sense. In fact, it makes no sense at all. This was a crazy one. I wanted to mention this article here. A man in Mallorca arrested for infecting 22 people with the virus. According to police, the individual went to work with a fever and told his colleagues, "I'm going to infect you all with the virus." Wow. That is the co-worker from hell there. A 40-year-old man has been arrested in the Mallorcan town of Manacor in Spain's Balearic Islands on suspicion of assault for allegedly infecting 21 people with the virus. 8 of them contracted the virus after coming into direct contact with the man at his workplace and at a gym. And another 14 were infected indirectly, according to the national police. The detainee went to work despite having a fever of 40 Celsius and walked around his workplace without a mask. Wow, that is stunning there. Threatening to spread the virus to his colleagues. What was going through that man's mind? The individual was placed in custody on Friday and released after appearing before the duty court in Manacor. According to the National Police, the investigation began in January after an outbreak was detected in Manacor with several contagions reported in the same workplace, a well-known food retailer in the town. Workers told police that one of their workmates could have been responsible for the outbreak, saying he may have hidden the fact that he was sick. Further investigation found that the man had presented symptoms but continued to go to work regardless. Did that man have an ulterior motive? Did he think he didn't have the actual virus? He was trying to be funny? He thought he just had a cold? It's quite interesting there. Or was he afraid to lose his job? Or to take time off of work? Was he afraid to lose out on the money? That is a question. And either way, it is a very sad circumstance there and quite uncalled for. Okay, here's some news from the labor sector. First year of the virus pandemic leaves 401,000 unemployed, 743,000 workers on furlough here in Spain. The labor market gained more than 70,000 new Social Security affiliations in March, while jobless claims fell by 60,000. A little more than a year ago, the Spanish labor market suffered an unprecedented blow from the virus pandemic. The number of contributors to the Social Security system, which is considered a measure of job creation, started to fall on March 12th, just days before the Spanish government declared a state of alarm to control the spread of the pandemic. Under this emergency measure, public-facing businesses were closed and all Spaniards were ordered to remain at home. By the end of the month, nearly 900,000 people had lost their jobs as a result of the first lockdown. The number of Social Security affiliations fell even further in February when they hit their lowest point. From that moment on, employment figures began to recover, but more than 1 year later, has still not returned to pre-pandemic levels. According to new data released by the Labor and Social Security Ministries on Tuesday, there are nearly 440,000 fewer contributors to the Social Security system than there were in mid-March, when the 18.9 million were recorded. Meanwhile, unemployment has also risen during the pandemic. In the last year, 401,328 people have lost their jobs. In March of this year, the number of jobless claims fell by 60,000, pushing the total number of people registering as unemployed below the 4 million mark. Wow, that is stunning numbers, guys. Stunningly high numbers there for unemployment. And all those people they are missing right now that are not paying into the Social Security system. It is going to affect the retirees in the future, and it can also affect the healthcare and other things here in Spain, because it is a socialist type EU country. So you can see I'm in the Plaza de la Constitución here in Malaga. It's a little bit overcast. It has been that way about the last week. So we have not had the best weather, but I do see a lot less police out. The last month or two, a lot of police been in this plaza. You've had a lot of the national police, and I don't see them anymore. So I guess with the reopening of the borders here in Andalusia, we're gonna see less of those police. I guess they've gone back to Madrid and to Barcelona. So that is the latest news here from Andalusia and from Spain. We'll see you in the next video. Travel addict guy. Take care, everyone.